What's happening, guys? Jim the Game Guru. Today we're going to dig into the Lost Ruins of Arnak. This is a game where you are explorers and you land on an island to discover what was there. Try to discover lost temples, discover guardians, try to overcome guardians, dig at sites, discover new sites. It's one of those exploration type of games, but it mixes different types of mechanics together into one giant meaty game. This game is very meaty, and it's very big on the table. The board is big and beautiful. It has mechanics of deck building mixed with worker placement. Has this game lived up to its hype? This game has a lot of hype out there. I would say it's a very, very good game. I've only played this game 2-player. I like it a lot. There's a lot of decisions that you can make in this game, which is fantastic, because the most powerful thing in any kind of board game is the power of choice. That's what makes games so good. So when you have different things you can choose from and have different types of outcomes. And that's what makes the replayability of these type of games very high. I like this game a lot. The only thing I don't like is that the different mechanics with the deck building and worker placement is kind of watered down. So you have 2 meeples for the worker placement, and then your deck building, you're not going to get up to those really thick decks as you get into other deck building games. You'll actually get pretty lucky if you even get 15 or 20 cards by the end of the game. So the deck building is very, very light. Worker placement really light. I really wish they would have added more to those 2 elements. I feel like they kind of capped the game a little bit. I feel like the reason why they capped it is because there's only so much real estate on the board, and they tried to, and since this game goes up to 4 players, they try to make it so that every player would have a place to go and something to do. If you end up playing with less than 4 players, like if you do a 3 or a 2-player game, I wish they would have opened it up a little bit more. Maybe if you're playing 2 players, give you 4 meeples instead of 2 to place. So that was the only downside so far that I've seen in this game. I mean, I think the colors are good, the cards look good, the component quality is very nice. I mean, a lot of the components are like plastic, or your wooden meeples. You do have a research track that you can do as well, where you on this board you have this research area where you can kind of push up and try to discover the temples. And on that research portion, you can actually hire assistants to help you along your journey. But let's go ahead, dig in. I want to show you guys the components. I want to do a quick how-to. Maybe I'll do like 2 rounds gameplay with 2 players. If you guys are new here, please consider subscribing or following. Alright, let's dig into the components on the table for the Lost Ruins of Arnak. And as you can see, like I said earlier in the video, this game is very, very, very meaty. Look how many things are on the table. This board is so big that I cannot get the entire board lengthwise the way it should. This part right here is actually supposed to go to the bottom of this board down here, but I don't have any room on my table in order to have everything on camera. So I need to push it over here to the side so you guys can see it. So we have the main island board where you have these different sites over here where we can actually dig and explore new areas. Down here at the very bottom, we already have sites that are discovered, and these are kind of your entry sites that you can go to for resources. Later on, as we move some of our meeples up here, we're going to discover new areas. At the very top, we have the market, and this has from left, you have artifact. It's on the left side of this moon staff. So take a look here at the moon staff, what it looks like. You see that? It looks pretty cool. It's just a cardboard token that you put on the board. This actually dictates the round that you're in. So round 1, and then when we get to round 2, this is gonna move over 2, 3, 4, and 5. What's gonna happen is this artifact right here, we only have 1 artifact card right now, and then on the other side are item cards. These are like basically tools you can use throughout the game to gain resources and perform other actions. And as the staff moves over to the right, you're gonna have less item cards toward the end of the game, later rounds, and more artifacts that you can purchase on the left side of the staff. Up here at the top is the artifact deck. Over here is the item deck. This part right here on the right is a research track. You basically can go up this track to the very top, and if you make it to the very top, you can actually discover the Lost Temple. As you move up, you're gonna gain more and more and more victory points, which are specified on the side of the board. You have this little hourglass, and like book component. These two components right here. These components for each player has two of them in different colors. These two components are going to move up on this research track. And then the higher that each one of these get up the research track, then the more victory points you can get. Once you get to the very top and you discover the temple, you can actually pay resources in order to get some of these special items within the temple, which give you additional victory points. And up here on these special sites that we haven't discovered yet, there are idols. And let me go ahead and show you. This is an example of an idol. And you can actually get these idols once you discover this site. These will actually give you more points toward the end of the game. You get 3 victory points per idol. And each one has kind of a different thing that it gives you. So some of them will give you a gold coin. Some of them will allow you to use your untap your assistants so you can use them again. Some of them will give you another compass. And compass in this game is another currency that you use to buy cards or even play abilities. Over here we have assistants. So the anatomy of the assistant card is very, very simple. You have their ability right here. This gold row down here at the bottom, that's this person's ability once you end up upgrading them. Because if you flip them over, they have a gold side. And that's their ability. The reason why it's down here is so it shows you what happens when you upgrade them. So you know beforehand. And there's various assistants. They all look different. But they just have special abilities. That's it. On the very bottom of their cards. We have red rubies or some kind of red gem over here. We have these. Let me grab these resources over here and show you what these resources all are. Okay, so see, these are some of the resources in the game. You have this blue spearhead or arrowhead, this coin. You have a compass that you can actually get, and that's actually currency as well. You have this red gem, and then you have this tablet right here. Those are used to play artifacts. A lot of the artifacts, you need to pay one of these in order to use their abilities, except for when you buy the artifacts. One of the special rules in this game is when you buy an artifact, you can use its special ability right away without paying its cost. Over here we have a Site 1 discovery areas, and I'll show you what some of these look like. They have pretty decent artwork on them. So whenever you get these sites, discover them, you'll actually get the bonuses at the very bottom. And I feel like it's a very typical artwork of kind of this exploration of Mayan or lost cities or whatever. Over here we have guardians, this pile. You'll end up flipping these guardians as you discover sites as well. That's kind of a cool dragon right there. Spider, some kind of big bird, scorpions. So all sorts of guardians that you can overcome in this game. There is no dying in this game. You basically try to overcome them if you can. And if you cannot overcome them, then what happens is you'll end up getting a fear card. Fear cards are worth -1 points, and they're also filler in your deck. And I'll get to fear cards in a second. These are the Site 2 areas that you can discover. Again, very typical artwork for kind of this lost civilization, kind of ruins type of thing. Up here, fear card. A fear card doesn't have much to it. It just has a travel that you can spend, and it also has points. Every card that you acquire in this game will have some kind of point at the very bottom. This card is worth -1 points at the end of the game. So you want to kind of get rid of these fear cards before the end of the game so they don't count as negative points. At the very beginning, these fear cards are going to give you a travel that you can use to pay for going to one of the sites. So they're useful at the very beginning, but then later on in the game, they're kind of garbage. Every player is going to get one of these campsites. And what you do on this campsite is you can put your resources here. You'll put your resources, your idols, your meeples on here. You'll have your deck that you're building on the left side. that you're still drawing from. These 2 spaces right here are where your assistants go. And then this right here is one thing that I missed when I first started playing the game, in that there are special abilities here on the left-hand side. Whenever you get an idol by discovering a site, you put your idol on this area right here, but you don't put them in here. What you do is later on, if you decide to use one of these abilities, you can place an idol there to use one of those abilities on your turn. The reason why there's victory points right here, though, is because every time you put an idol there, you're subtracting a victory point at the end of the game. So if you end up going the entire game without filling up any of these spots, you'll get 4, 3, plus another 3, 10 victory points extra. But if you end up filling up all of these, you will get 0 extra victory points. Every player gets one of these campsites. All right, so let's go over the anatomy of an item card. So on the very top, you'll have the travel that you can gain from this particular item card. So whenever you play cards, you can play them 2 different ways. You either play them for the abilities, or you can play them for their travel to pay for a site if you want to move one of your meeples to that site. If you don't do that and you actually play the card for its abilities, you actually have to perform the action down here. If you cannot perform the action down there, then you cannot play this card. So this card says if you pay 1 compass, you will get a tablet and one of those arrowheads. This card is worth 1 victory point at the end of the game. All the cards in this game will have some kind of victory points at the bottom. Well, I shouldn't say all. Some of them don't. I think some of the instant cards don't have any victory points. But as far as the cards that you buy from the market, most of them will have victory points there. This is just letting you know that this is an item card. This is a kind of a symbol saying, hey, this is an item card and not an artifact. The artifacts will have different symbols on them. So let's take a look at an artifact. So this is letting you know that this is an artifact on the very top. This is a travel that you will get if you decide to play this card as a travel expense for one of the sites. Over here, this tells you that you need to pay a tablet in order to perform this ability if you play this card out of your hand as a normal deck card. But when you buy an artifact from the market, you can ignore this when you first buy it and take advantage of its abilities. So how do you buy the artifact? And that's right here, down here at the very bottom left. This is the price of this artifact card. This card costs 3 compass to buy. So whenever you end up buying cards from the market, the artifacts you can use right away, and they go directly into your playing field. Items are different. Whenever you buy an item card, it will go directly at the bottom of your deck on your campsite. Okay, so I have yellow's campsite right here. I have it this way because I have no room, and I have red here. This is the first player token. Whoever has a token this time around will not have this token on the next round. This token moves around. The red's gonna be first player this round, but on the next round, yellow's gonna be first player. This game also comes with quick reference sheets that will tell you what each one of the symbols mean. So that way, as you're looking on the board and whenever you gain certain abilities from the board or from a card, this will tell you what exactly it means. And on the other side, it will tell you kind of what happens during your turn and the setup for the next round. Now, on your turn, there are main actions you can perform. Dig at a site, discover a new site, overcome a guardian, buy an item, buy an artifact, play a card, or move up the research track, or you can pass. Passing is one of those things that you don't want to do unless you're absolutely certain you want to do it, or if you have no more plays left. Because whenever you pass until the end of the round. That's it. You can't say, oh, I pass on this turn, but then I'm going to play on my next turn. Once you pass, you're done until the end of the round. Let's take a look. Before we get into the how to play, let's go ahead and take a look at the manual really quickly. Manual, very, very, very good quality. Magazine style paper. It goes into the actual setup of the entire board. As you can see here, this part of the board goes underneath the board over here. I just don't have real estate on this table in order to show you in one complete inline board like that. So here we've got player setup, we have gameplay, It goes into on your turn what you can do, and then it goes into like digging a site. It goes into discovering a new site, overcoming a guardian. And then it goes into buying a card, playing a card. Everything you need to know is here in the manual, and they've done a great job of explaining each and every single part. The only thing this manual doesn't do is it doesn't explain the flow of the game. So it does actually a terrible job of explaining that flow. But then it goes into final scoring, etc. There's also another side of this board that has the snake temple. And you can see right here the snake temple side. So if you decide not to play with this side, you can flip the board over, and then I'm not sure what the differences are because I haven't played the snake side yet. So one of the most confusing things in this game is how do the turns take place? And that is the one thing that I was struggling with at first, because I was like, okay, well, what defines a turn? When does it end? How does that overall flow happen? And what happens is in every single round, every player is going to take one turn making some kind of main action and free actions if they want to as well. After they take that turn, the next person will take a turn in that round, and then it goes back to the other player, and then they'll take another turn, and then it keeps going back and forth, back and forth. Every player takes a turn with some kind of a main action in that turn. And that's one thing the manual does not explain well, is that constant taking of turns until you've exhausted all your possible options and you have to pass until the next round. Both players start off with 6 cards in their deck, and I'll just show you the decks really fast. So you have 6 cards. You have 4 starter cards right here, as you can see. These cards are red. So these tell me what my starter cards are. And this is for the person with the red meeples. This person over here is going to have yellow cards for their starters. Every person starting deck will have 2 fear cards they start with. And whenever you draw your cards from your deck to start your turn, you're only drawing the top 5. So I'm going to go ahead and drop the top 5 here for this player. Just like that. And I'm going to go ahead and draw the top 5 for yellow as well. Okay, so we got the 5. That means both players only have 1 card left in their campsite. So there are starting resources as well. So yellow is going to start off with a compass and a gold coin as their starting resource. And red is going to start off with 2 gold coins. In the manual, it does tell you, depending on how many players are playing, on the resources that are available. At the very bottom here, you'll notice that I have certain things covered up, and that is because with playing only 2 players, you're going to have some spots covered up with these special tokens so that other people can actually not put their meeples there. So this is a way that the game is restricting these places in a 2-player game. If you were to play a 4-player game, all of these tokens would be gone, and all of these sites would be open up to be able to have 2 meeples on each site. Okay, so red is going to go. Let's start off with red. Anything you see with a lightning bolt in your hand is a free action. So you have 2 things you can do in your turn. You can play a free action for free because it's a free action, and you take your main action for that turn. So I'm going to go ahead and play my 2 free actions here of getting these 2 compasses here. So I'm going to grab these 2 compasses here. And then I'm going to play these other 2 free actions as well. I mean, might as well. I mean, they're all just resources right now that I could use for something. So now this player over here has 4 gold and 2 compasses. So the thing I'm left with is a fear card. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my main action for this turn is to move this meeple into one of these sites. And I'm going to move it right here where I actually get 2 of these compasses. So now player 1... red here has 4 compasses and 4 gold. Now I have to put this down as a payment for this travel. Okay, there you go, done. Now this player over here is gonna go yellow. Let's see how many free actions they have. They have 4 free actions. They have the same as red, so they're gonna play the 2 yellow. They're gonna play these 2 greens. They're gonna get 2 compasses. So yellow has 3 compass and 2 more gold here, so they have 3 gold, okay? So they could do the same thing. They can go down here to a site if they want and pay the travel based off right here on the top, because like I said earlier, every single one of these cards will have some kind of travel at the top or its ability. Now, the fear cards do not have abilities, but you can use them for travel. So, do I want this yellow player to travel somewhere? Maybe. Yeah, maybe I'll go ahead and I'll pay for yellow to travel right here, and they'll get 2 tablets, okay? 2 of these tablets right here. And then these are used to use artifacts or to pay as resources for certain things. So they're done. This player's gonna go over here. If you notice, I played all my cards right here, right? I cannot draw again here. In a typical deck builder game, what happens is you play your cards, the cards will go into like a discard pile, and then you draw 5 more cards into your hand to play for your next turn. That is one thing this game does not do. Is this game, even though it's got deck building mechanics in there, it's very light. Like I said earlier in the video, it's very light on deck building mechanics. So it doesn't have a discard part. There's no discard pile. And whenever you play your cards, you're done playing them for that round. Your cards do not refresh again until the next round. So this player can do a few things. They can go to one of these sites and discover them, or they can go up here and they can buy a card. I think what I'm going to do though, oh, you know what though? I can't go to these because I have no travel, because I spent my fear. I don't have any travel because this requires boats, cars, double boats, and double cars. So I don't have any travel to pay for those. So I can't do that. So I'm pretty limited right now. Round 1 is a very limiting round. It's usually when you're buying a couple things here and there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead. Maybe what I'll do is I'll spend 3 of these compass things to buy an artifact. So I can buy this artifact. And what this says is move 1 idol on your player board from a slot back to your supply crates. Well, I'm not going to do that. I am going to, again, whenever you get the artifact, whenever you buy the artifact, you can ignore the cost and get this ability immediately, but you don't have to. So that's one thing. It's one of those things that you may use the ability right away. But there's no point in using the ability because this card basically will take an idol that I have up here in my one of these slots and pull them off even after I put the idol there already, which is very, very cool. So this player over here is gonna go, oh, and after I draw the artifact, a new artifact card goes up. Okay, so this was actually pretty cool. What does this one do? This one allows me to exile a card out of my deck. And exiling a card is basically like deck thinning in deck builders. So you can get rid of crappy cards and get to the more meatier cards. And then he says, activate an unoccupied campsite, which is one of these down here. But you have to spend 4 compasses to get that. What's this person going to do over here? You know what? They might just go ahead and spend, I think on their turn, they're going to buy an item card. So they're going to spend 3 gold right here. We're going to put that up there. They're going to spend 3 gold, and they're going to buy this card right here because this allows them to get 2 compasses as a free action because it's a lightning bolt. See that? You can play any card that's a free action on any of your turns, and they won't count as a main action. So that goes up. This one goes at the bottom of the deck. Item cards always go at the bottom of the deck once you buy them. And you notice the difference. Item, bottom of the deck, and this person over here bought an artifact and they had to go into the play area. So this will get shuffled and go back into the deck once the round is over. So now we're back to this person here. Let's go ahead and slide the item card down because now we have to refill it after that item card was purchased. Okay, so we got a parrot there. This person is going to do the same thing. They're going to spend a gold coin to get this. They're going to give the trowel. That allows them to spend a compass in order to get one of those red ruby gems. So this card is going to go at the bottom of the deck. These cards slide on down just like that. And then the next item card flips. Now it's yellow's turn. Now neither yellow or red can actually go and visit an additional site down here because they don't have the travel cost to pay for it. So now they're basically just spending their compass points and their gold or whatever to do things. Actually, no, there is one other rule that I have not specified, and that's if you spend 2 gold in this game at any time during your turn, you can actually get a pilot. It's called hiring a pilot, which will be 1 travel cost that you can pay. well, this person has no gold left. Red could still do that if they wanted to, but they have 3 of these compasses and tablets. They really can't do anything. I'm looking around to see if there's anything else that yellow can do. And this has a cost to move up the research track. They don't have that. This has a cost to come here. They don't have that. So they're kind of stuck right now. So red is the only one that can actually, and they can't pay for this artifact because this artifact card costs 4 compass. They only have 3 compass over here. Well, they're going to go ahead and pass because I can't see anything else that they can do right now. So red's going to go again. And what they're probably going to do is, you know what? Maybe they'll grab this one. They'll spend a gold and they'll grab this pickaxe right here. Then they will put that at the bottom of their deck. Now yellow is going to go again, but yellow passed, right? And since yellow passed, they have to wait till the end of the round. And they cannot go again. So red is going to go and try to take another turn now. Let's go ahead and slide these down. Let's see. I think red is going to try to buy another card. So this one right here allows you to exile this card to overcome a guardian on a site not occupied by any other player. So very cool. I think they're going to go ahead and spend the 2 gold on this. So let's spend 2 gold. They'll buy this item card. Hey, it's an item card, right? It goes where? At the bottom of the deck. Yellow, they passed. So again, back to red. Is red going to do anything? No, red can't do anything. Now they're going to go ahead and pass. Now it is the end of the round. So what happens at the end of the round? So this card, well, these cards are going to slide down because of the card that was purchased. At the end of the round, this card right here next to the Moonstaff, this item card, is exiled. It's gone. This artifact card right here is exiled. It's gone. Those 2 cards go there. This staff moves over to the right. And now what happens is you draw 2 artifact cards. And you can see how eventually you're going to have more artifact cards as the staff moves over. These meeples go back. Both players will end up shuffling the cards they played in their play area. So red is going to shuffle. Now, after you shuffle, you put them at the bottom. So now yellow is going to go ahead and go. They're going to have to shuffle here. Oh, the first player token goes over here to yellow. Let's go ahead and shuffle, though. I'm going to put this up here. We're going to shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. These go at the bottom of the deck. So now we're going to draw 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go, just like that. And then here, red is going to draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, yellow is going, so what are they going to do? So they have 3 cards that are free actions, right? They'll go ahead and spend those. And they get what? 2 gold and a compass. What else are they going to do? So they have 4 compasses there. They're going to spend this other free action, right? Because anything in lightning bolt is free action. So they're going to spend that. They're going to get 2 more compasses right there. They have a fear card they can use to travel to one of these. And I think they're going to do that as part of their main action. So they're going to spend this for the travel, which is the 1 boot, which is a travel cost, right? They're going to move this icon over here where they can get 2 gold because they run into money problems the other round. They don't want to have money problems this round. So just like that. So they spent they played all of their cards right now. So now we come over here to red. What's red going to do? So red has a free action here. So they're going to spend that to get a compass. What else? They have a fear, and then they have one of these. They have 2 cards that turns a compass into two different types of resources, and then they have this one that they can use this to exile in order to overcome a guardian. I'm not sure what I'm going to do here. I think what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to spend the fear card as a travel and move them over here. Okay, so we'll go ahead and spend that as a travel. What are they going to do? They can't get the 2 gold because they got the 2 gold last time there. They might come over here and maybe get the arrowhead thing. So they're going to get one of these arrowheads. We're going to have to put the resource right there. Now yellow's going. Nothing that they can use to spend travel right here except for gold, right? 2 gold can give them a plane to use as a travel on one of these spots. And I think they may end up doing that because the benefits you get for discovering a site are pretty big. What they're going to do is they're going to spend 2 gold just like this, and they're going to rent a pilot. They're going to hire a pilot to give them 1 pilot thing to go any one of these. And they also have to pay the cost here. There are two different costs on the board. One is 6 compasses to be able to discover a new site here. And this one here is 3 compasses to discover any of the sites here. The only time you have to pay these 2 costs is when you're discovering a site. If the site has already been discovered, like these ones down here, you only have to pay the travel cost, and that's it. You don't have to pay this discovery cost. That's basically what these compasses are here. They're basically a discovery cost. So they're going to spend 3 compasses for their discovery cost. And they're going to move their meeple. Where are they going to go? They might go maybe right here. Because this one allows them to get this idol and this benefit right away. This benefit here with the arrow that has the tablet and the arrowhead and the red gem means that I can turn a tablet into an arrowhead or turn an arrowhead into a red gem. So they get this idol. This idol goes there and supply crates. There's supposed to be like a supply crate area here. And what happens is this idol is a supply crate, but we can end up putting the idols in one of the top spots if they decide to use one of those abilities. But they're going to go ahead and upgrade one of their tablets to an arrowhead thing. So they have that there. And now the site gets discovered, right? So they get to discover the site, which is this one right here. You get the immediate effects from this. So they get a tablet, they get 1 gold, and they get to draw a card. How fantastic is that? So they get to draw a card in their hand from their deck. It's a free action card, which is fantastic. But they're not going to use it just yet. So we have that. They're going to get a gold, too, and they get a tablet, right? Just like that. And then a guardian flips up. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so this guardian right here, it actually requires 4 gold to overcome. Now, what happens when you overcome a guardian? You will be able to take this guardian and move it to your play area, and you can use this guardian later on for the ability at the very top. So this guardian's ability is to do an upgrade of tablet to arrowhead or arrowhead to red gem. Once you use the guardian, you're gonna flip it over like that to let everyone know that you've already used them. Every guardian is worth 5 points at the end of the game. So this guardian goes right here. The only thing that sucks is this person does not have 4 gold to overcome this guardian. The only way you can overcome this guardian is if you have one of your meeples at that site. Unless you have a card that has a special ability that allows you to overcome a guardian where one of your meeples are not located. Sometimes you come across cards like that. All right, so they discovered that site. So they're done. They're not going to do anything else anymore. So we go back to red. What is red going to do? So we have a bunch of cards here. I think what they're going to do is they're going to play the pickaxe, okay? So they'll play the pickaxe. That will allow them to pay 1 compass to get a tablet and an arrowhead, just like that. And they're done. Now we go back to this player here. What's this player gonna do? All right, so they have a free action, which is this, so and in their hand. So they're gonna play that. They're gonna get themselves a compass. That goes right here. And now we got 3 gold and we got 4 compasses. They can actually buy a card up here. I think they're gonna buy this parrot one right here, because this card gives them 2 victory points at the very end of the game, just like that, as you can see. It also allows you to play a card out of your hand and put it right in your play area in order to gain a red gem. So they're going to go ahead and spend the 2 gold on this. And then this card goes at the bottom of their deck because, again, all item cards go at the bottom of your deck. The item cards slide over and we refill it. All right, so now it's red's turn, and I think red is going to end up, they might end up spending the money on the trowel to spend 1 of their compasses to get a red gem. So expect that, go like this. Perfect. So we'll go put that there. And now it goes back to yellow's turn. Now, this is going to be a good opportunity to show you how we go up the research track. I think yellow is going to go ahead and spend one of these compass and this arrowhead thing. So they're going to spend the tablet and the arrowhead to move their magnifying glass up along the research. Now, why not the book instead of the magnifying glass? And the reason is because the magnifying glass always has to be at even level or higher level than the book. So they're going to go ahead and spend those 2 resources like we just did, and they're going to move up to here. And then on the side of the board, what's going to happen is you'll get a reward for moving up that item on the research track. So yellow gets 1 gold as a reward for that. There we go. And then we're going to go ahead and go to red. Now, what is red going to do? They have a card they can use to exile in order to overcome a guardian. But you know what? I don't think we're going to end up using that. We might end up using this for a travel cost on one of these, possibly. Oh, no, we can't. They can't pay the discovery cost of the 3 compasses. So red's going to do the same thing. They're going to spend actually, you know, they might spend, I don't know if they want to do they'll do this. They'll spend the tablet and the arrowhead just like yellow did. They're going to move their red magnifying glass. I keep calling the magnifying glass an hourglass for some reason. I don't know why I keep doing that. So they're going to go ahead and gain 1 gold from that. Yellow is going to go now. They have, what, 3 compass, and they have 2 gold. I think what they might do is they might spend the 3 compasses on buy an artifact. And they'll just buy this artifact right here. And what does this artifact allow them to do? It says, put a meeple onto one of these campsites for free. You may activate it twice instead of once. All right, well, you know what? My 2 meeples are already on there. I can't use this ability, unfortunately. But artifact goes into your play area, and then we flip over another artifact, just like that. Okay, so red's gonna go. They're gonna spend their red little ruby thing, and they're gonna spend that on moving their book, because the book cannot go past the magnifying. But the book can go a separate way if they wanted to do that. And they're going to move it up here, which gives them an assistant. And I think what they'll probably do is they'll go for this assistant right here. You pick an assistant. This one gives them 1 free compass when you use the assistant. So they're done. Now comes back to yellow. And yellow's what? Got 2 tablets and 2 gold. I don't think they can buy anything with 2 gold. They can't do anything with their 2 tablets that I could see. You know what? They could pay for a pilot to go to here. Well, no, they can't because their 2 people. Yes, their 2 meeples are on there. They can't pay for anything else over here. And on top of that, they can't buy anything from the top row. So yellow is kind of stuck. They're done. So now we go back to red, and red, what are they gonna do? They're not gonna use this at all. I mean, they can spend this if they want, but I think what red's gonna do is they're just gonna go ahead and pass as well. And then after you pass, we get ready for the next round. So just like this. Oh, and one thing is, I wasn't able to overcome this guardian. So when at the end of the round, when I take this meeple back, I get a fear card. So yellow gets a fear card because they could not overcome the guardian in that location where they were at. So all the meeples go back just like that. And then these 2 cards get exiled. These move over. This comes down. This moves over because we got to move the moon staff over. And then another artifact comes out. So now we have 3 artifacts and 3 items that are available in the round for purchase. Now, one thing I could have done there with the bear trap is I could have actually used the bear trap, the travel, which is a car. You see that right there? I could have used that car and moved I had 1 more meeple for red. I could have moved them to one of these spots. So that's one thing that I just noticed that I could have done. But this is just a simulation play, so if in a real game I probably would have done that. So I'm not too worried about it. And the main thing is to show you guys how the game is played. So once we do that, then we go ahead and reshuffle. So we're going to go ahead and reshuffle these. Put them at the bottom of the deck. We'll do a quick dirty reshuffle here for red. So red gets a reshuffle. This goes at the bottom of red's deck just like this. Both players draw 5 cards for their new hand. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom. And then over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for their new hand. First player marker goes back over here to red. And there we go. Now we can start round 3. You notice that this guardian is still there. That site is discovered. Now anyone who pays this boat cost can go here without paying the discovery cost and get the benefits the sites offer. So as you discover more sites, you're gonna get more resources. So eventually you're not gonna go back to these smaller ones down here, because the sites up here will give you more resources and abilities. Like this is probably something a red's going to end up trying to do on the very first turn here, because it allows them to draw a card, get a gold, and get a tablet, which is very, very nice. And we can continue later on in the game and try to move our research tokens up to the top. Remember, if you get to the top of this part right here, you discover the temple. You'll get some massive victory points if you can get your magnifying glass to the very top. And there's additional rewards as well as you're moving up and you're picking up these little tokens here. These tokens will come off the board. You'll get the reward. And the reason why they come off the board is because if you're the first player that gets there, you'll get the reward, but nobody else that moves up will get that later on. You keep going, you keep going, you keep going, you keep discovering new sites. You move the round marker all the way until you get to the 5th round. Once you get done the 5th round, the game is over. And then once the game is over, you tally up the points of all the idols that you get. You tally up the points of all the guardians that you get. And you tally up all the points of your cards, because like I said before, a lot of cards will have victory points at the very bottom. This gives you -1 because it's a fear card. This will give you 2 for this artifact. So different cards will give you points, and you got to tally those up. And there's a score pad in this game that they give you to tally everything up, all your victory points from the research track. And there's so many different victory points: idol, guardians, cards in your deck, how far you are up on the research track for both the magnifying glass and the book, and the extra bonus victory points from these idle spots here in your campsite. So if you don't end up using these spots, you'll get bonus victory points there. So lots of victory point counting at the end of the game from these different areas. But once you get done the 5th round, you basically count all the victory points, and whoever has the most wins. And that's it. That is how the game is played. Not as difficult as it seems. It's very daunting when you first open the game and you go through the manual. It took me like 2 hours to read that manual to try to soak up all the information before we started playing. But once you get into it and once you get through your first play, the setup and the gameplay goes so fast the very next game you play. It's not as hard as it seems. It's just the fact that the manual doesn't piece together all these different choices that you can make in a flow so you easily understand it. It only describes each action very well, but not the overall process. But that's it, guys. I'm Jim, the Game Guru. If you like this video, please like. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. But yeah, I highly recommend this game. It's actually pretty awesome, even though the different components, even though the different mechanics were kind of watered down, the deck building and the worker placement, I still think there's a lot in this game. There's a lot of choices, and it's actually really, really fun. But that's it. I am out of here. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.